Everyone, and welcome to today's live broadcast all about signs of codependency, how to break free of codependency, and so much more. So, in today's live broadcast, I wanted to really kind of just dig into signs that you're codependent because a lot of us are always asking, what's the difference, Apollonia, between neediness and codependency, and so on. So, I want to break that down for you and kind of give you a real inside self-coaching basically video of really to figure out of if you're codependency and if this rings a bell. I'm going to give you steps on how to push forward and and be through this, and go through this. So if it's your first time joining me on my channel, I welcome you. My name is Apollonia Ponti. I'm a dating, relationship, and life coach for men. I help men not only master their attraction skills, overall get better results in dating their relationships, but really truly better themselves overall in life so they can become that empowered man to attract that empowered woman, an empowered relationship, and empowered life. So if you're tuning in live, I would love for you guys to engage with me on the chat box or inside the chat box. Tell me where you're tuning in from. Comment below too and tell me where you're tuning in from, as I'd love for you guys to really dive in and discuss some things with me too. I'm also going to do a Q&A at the end, so make sure that you stay around as well. And yes, this is Life Michael. Welcome to the live. Now, if you're watching the replay, I'll also have the links below as well for everything that we were discussing. So let's get into a little bit about codependency. Okay. So I want you to think of codependency as it feels like an addiction. Okay. A lot of us do things in life to numb. A lot of us can do things in life to numb, as far as we hear it a lot. We can numb with drugs, we can numb with alcohol, but a lot of times we can also numb with loving relationships. A relationship and love and addicted to relationships and dating can also be a numbing process, just like online dating can be a numbing process because you're constantly looking for that gratification. Codependency is often an emotional and behavioral condition that indicates basically that a feeling of I'm afraid to have a healthy relationship with myself or have a satisfying relationship. So we have an idea that love or relationships or women in general that come to you are always drastic, devastating. You see yourself not being your best person. So you can get confused because oftentimes you look at yourself and you're like, well, I'm powerful in work. And this is what happens a lot with my clients. I'm powerful in my job. I'm very successful. I'm good in school. I'm good in all areas of my life. I have great friendships. But yet, when it comes to relationships, Apollonia, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I've become this other person. So, what happens is you end up not trusting yourself. And when you don't trust yourself, you go into these frustrating, destructive, patterns in regards to how you show up for yourself in relationship. So, codependency is often described as a need or an addiction, right? Maybe you make unhealthy choices, and I'm going to go into signs of this, but I want to clarify what codependency is a little bit more on a level where we can understand it because we are doing this daily in our relationships. So a level where our partner becomes an addiction, where we have these unhealthy choices that tend to basically take us away from our authentic behavior, and encourage us to show up in a different way, where we feel like we're in a state of overwhelm all the time in our relationship, and we start to slowly give our power away to another individual in this relationship. Sometimes we'll get into codependency relationships that are often one-sided, abusive relationships, emotional abusive relationship, physical abusive relationships as well, and have a lot of we attract a lot of gaslighting, we attract a lot of love bombing, we attract a lot of narcissism as well. And so typically when we become codependent in relationships, the reason why we can attract these type of relationships, as far as especially love bombing, is because when you're codependent, you question your reality of how you show up in a relationship because you don't trust yourself yet. And this is where we have to work through that. And so when we question it, when someone loves bomb us, meaning they come in and they show us so much love and appreciation, and you're like, this is too good to be true. How many of you have been love bombed in the beginning, probably from a woman? Comment below. And if there's any men that have, I want you to be authentically honest with yourself, because this happens to everybody. It's not like, oh, he's not a strong man because he's not. Well, listen, a lot of men that I work with are very successful men, and they're very independent, and they have a great thing going. They've built their own homes. They have a family. They drive nice cars, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to say. They have the strength. They have that strength in them where they're able to accomplish things. But when it comes into their personal relationships with women is when they start to self-destruct. Okay. And this is part of a codependency, and we falling for these love bombing relationships. And typically, when we fall love bombing relationships, it happens so much with codependent men and women too. And this is because we don't feel 100% authentic of how we show up in love. So listen, if you don't feel 100% authentic of how you show up in love, when someone comes in and validates that for you and says, I love you, you're the most amazing man I've ever met, and this is too good to be true. I want to have a family with you. I want to be married with you. And then the intimacy is amazing. And then you're like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Like, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe this is the one, Apollonia. And then all of a sudden that love bombing starts to fall away. And you're like questioning your own reality, questioning yourself. This is why we tend to fall into codependent relationships as well. Is because when we don't have trust, we will initially fall for whatever lands in our lap that feels good, because we lack boundaries, we lack standards, and we sometimes lack values. Okay. And let me, before I go into signs of codependency, be very clear about something. It did not mean that you're a horrible person. It does not mean that you're a bad man. It does not mean that you are weak. It does not mean any of that when you lack boundaries and standards. What it means in values, what it means is two things. One, you haven't invested in yourself to really get to aware of who you are as a man in a relationship. And number two is, guess what, guys? I remember dial-up AOL just becoming a thing. And internet has taken over the world to teach. Love in healthy relationship has never been taught in schools, has never been taught until now. And it's just starting to be open in conferences on YouTubes like this, where you found me. So now you're starting to invest in yourself, because this is something that has never been taught. Even if you've had a healthy dynamic in your household, sometimes it's still really confusing. But we've been taught how to build a business. We've been taught how to be trained in school for different activities for our career. And if we're lucky, we've been trained on how to handle finances. Some of us, most of us not. So it's not like, oh, we're going to blame other men for being weak because they don't have it. Yeah, some of them haven't invested. So they haven't made the right decisions because they haven't invested in themselves. But also, too, there's another dynamic of this is we're not teaching this. And that's why you're here with me, because I want you to unravel this. And I don't want you to have to go through these things that I see so many men going through. And this is where my purpose comes in. And I'm very intentional with this all the time. I tell you guys, I live and breathe the work that I do because I want to change the world that men live in when it comes to dating, relationships, and life. So let's get into some signs, guys, about codependency behavior. And as I go through these signs, I want you to comment below on what signs that really stick out to you. Even if it's more than one, I want you to continue to comment, because I want you to be able to call out what you see within yourself. Okay. So signs of a codependency can oftentimes feel like you need to be needed, like you're doing everything for this person. Who should honestly be independent, because we're all grown adults. So basically what you're doing is like you're trying to make her life better. You're also noticing that she's not over an ex. And so what you're trying to do is trying to prove that you're the best man possible for her. So you step into this prove mentality. Or you see her struggling in life because she just got out of a divorce and you're trying to pay her bills. Or you see her struggling in life and you're like, well, I used to be there one day too. I know what that's like. And you have empathy for that person. But the empathy is also with a motive of, but I want to be with her. So if I convince her that I'm a good man, keyword convince her that I'm a good man, and I show her, keyword show, convince and show, then she'll finally love me. We should never have to convince someone to be with you. All we have to do is show up with integrity and not prove that we are needing to be in this relationship. So one of the things that happens is we try, especially with people that have come from hurt and pain and stuff in life, we can fall into this trap very easily when we see someone else there, because we know what it's like to be there. But it is okay to be there for people as friends. But if you have an ulterior motive to be in a relationship with someone, you are not to give them all of yourself in order for them to heal. They have to come to that conclusion themselves, right? Because most of the time when we get here, we have a sense of meaning. Sometimes we feel like we have a sense of meaning in these relationships because I can support this person's growth. I can support this person financially, right? And so this is really, really important. Another thing is a reason why we're sometimes codependent is because we were abandoned when we were young by a mother or a father, right? So, as a child, we have to have loving relationships with our parents. I say this in all of my sessions with clients is I break some things down in general. I'm not going to dive in too much, but I want you to think about it. Your first romantic relationships are actually with your parents, guys. Okay. Now, with women, it becomes more romantic and intimate. Of course, the loves are different, but your first romantic relationships blend you for your future romantic relationships as well. The only difference is the love becomes more intense and it's more intimate, and it's not this caring type of parenting love, I should say, right? So, our first relationships with our parents often mold us. So, if we struggle with not being seen as a child, or we feel like we've been abandoned, what's going to happen is we're going to neglect ourselves in our adult relationships because sometimes we haven't healed from that. And like Marissa Peer says, that I've interviewed, that I love so much, she says a lot of people are out there trying to rewrite their ending instead of fixing their new beginning. Let me repeat that. Many people are out there trying to rewrite their ending instead of fixing their new beginning. Okay. So oftentimes when we get in codependency relationships, the next sign is like you start neglecting your responsibilities, your hobbies, your goals, your missions, and you start putting her first many times. And so when this happens, we start putting these people first and this woman first. We just don't understand what to do moving forward because we also lose a part of ourselves. And this is something that is huge in codependent relationships because it's one thing to be happy and elated and fun when you start dating someone new. But when we're losing a sense of ourselves, this becomes a huge, huge neglect. Okay. And then another part of codependency behaviors is you're hiding your issues. So maybe you are in an emotional abusive relationship and you start hiding those issues from parents, you start hiding them from friends and family, and you start actually digressing from these relationships that you're in. And so, because you start digressing from these relationships that you're in, what's happening is you're just saying, no more. I don't want to talk to them because I know this is secretly and subconsciously you're saying, this is not a good thing for me. So I know everybody's going to say something, they're going to judge me. And so instead, what you do is you take back that relationship with your parents or your friends, and you see them less and you see them less and you see them less. And then you just feel like you're drowning, right? So I want to know if this has ever happened to you because I'm doing a free live masterclass on Thursday on how to break free of codependency. Okay, guys? And this is huge. The link is below in the description box. You can register, it's completely free. It's Thursday. I want you to register. It's completely free. And it's going to be an hour masterclass of me teaching you and giving you the tools on how to break free of codependency so you can have long lasting romantic relationships that you're truly invested in and there's a mutual investment. Now, another thing too is when we get into unhealthy relationships, we notice that we are enabling our other partner's behavior. So, let's say that your partner is talking about dating other men and you guys aren't on that level, or I don't know, saying something that's just very disrespectful and you make excuses for it. So you're not allowing your partner basically to take responsibilities and you're not allowing yourself. So your voice is diminished. So you start neglecting yourself and your needs, you start neglecting your self-care, you start neglecting your work, you start neglecting your relationship with yourself, and etc. So another thing too, what we tend to do, and when we tend to get to codependent, is we start to think that these people, this relationship in our life, is something we need. Okay. And then we start thinking that everything that I've done in this relationship is because of my behaviors. Okay. And so we start saying this because we can control it. If we don't project it and say, no, this is my partner's fault, this is where I got here, we don't look at this as a partnership. And so one of the things that happens here is you have to remember that subconsciously what will happen to a lot of people when they're in codependent relationships is they will take blame for it. Well, I did this, and well, Apollonia, this is what happened because I did it. And yeah, I wasn't really great in the beginning, but then she did this and then she did this, and maybe I deserved it, right? And so what happens and why we do this is because if I can control it and if it's my fault, then I can fix it. Make sense? So if I can fix it, I can still be this person because all I see in this relationship is she's the one and it's end all be all because I'm codependent. And in order to release this, in order to get clear of this, guys, is where we also have to chime in and say, what do I need to change in my life? What work do I need to do to release these unhealthy attachments to possibly not the best woman for me and also show up better for myself in my life? So I want you to register. Click the link in the bio right below and register for my free live masterclass on Thursday. I want you to do that right now. Take some time and register right now. Comment in the chat box that you registered so I can give you a personalized shout out. And if you're watching the replay, I will definitely like your comment and everything. But it's going to be Thursday, September 29th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I really would encourage you to register. We're going to be talking about the 6 steps to becoming more of a healthier, create a healthier relationship with yourself and becoming a best version of yourself, and really how to step out of that people pleasing mentality, the overthinking, and really understanding how to communicate your boundaries and set standards moving forward in your relationship with the woman you date, and how to unravel that codependency that you are feeling like you're facing. So the link is here in the description box below. I'll also put it in the chat box. I'm going to take some questions right now for you guys. Let me know when you registered so I can personally give you a shout out, of course. I love doing that. And thank you guys for joining me live as well. I'm going to put it here in the chat box for everybody. Let me see if it'll let me pin it. It won't let me pin it, but it's okay. I could take some questions here. Let's see. So HB3 says, I've been going through this. I'm going through this right now. So this is where I would encourage you to register for the live masterclass. And you did just registered. Got that in. Just registered. Awesome. Let's see. We have some things coming in. Apollonia, stay beautiful inside and out. Excellent advice that helped me prosper. Thank you so much for what you do. Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you so much for your comment as well. If you guys have questions about codependency and the situation you're in, I'm open to answering some of those questions. As you guys registered, I want you to comment in the chat box that you just registered so I can personally get a shout out. Let's see, just about 25 years, all of a sudden, everything is different. She's saying we're growing apart. We have a 24-year-old, 22-year-old, a daughter who's 21-year-old. I'm pretty confused and other things. So I'm assuming you're married and you've been together for this long. Okay, it's interesting because I have another client that I'm helping with in his marriage right now. And the reason why couples end up growing apart majority of the time, there's a lot of things that come into play. But here's what I can say of his overall, because I don't know your situation, is many times as couples, I want you to think of it as like a caterpillar, right? A caterpillar always sheds the legs and becomes a butterfly, or sheds the skin and becomes a butterfly. Well, there's evolutions of life of where couples will always find themselves. A lot of times moms will be stay-at-home moms for 10 years, and then the man gets used to this, but then she now finds her purpose and starts going out, making friendships, and you're like, what the heck is happening? And you feel like you have no control. It's about really understanding that foundational element and trying to elevate with your partner constantly, because then when we don't, we lack that emotional connection as well. So also too, Anthony, shout out to you. You just registered. Amazing. You're welcome, Gino. Nice to see you here. Tony Yo, hello. You registered. Amazing. George, you registered. Shout out to you. I'm excited to see you guys on Thursday. This is completely free. I'm going to give you a live masterclass. Bring your pen and paper on how to detach and unlearn these codependent behaviors and show up better for yourself. Let's see. Christopher, gentlemen, sign up. Apollonia and her team will truly help you. Her courses work. Thank you. Oh, that makes me feel so good. I really put a lot of work into my courses, and I appreciate you recognizing that. Colin, I just registered, been struggling with this for admittedly my whole life. I look forward to the class. Yes, Colin, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you unravel this. I am so excited. This is what I love to do. And thank you for trusting in me as well. Joe Toro, congratulations, you registered as well. Shout out to you guys for investing and really taking the bulls by its horns and really kind of getting clear and showing up for yourself and investing in your personal growth. Joe, he has registered as well. Welcome, Joe. I can't wait to see you in the live masterclass on Thursday. I'll also do a live Q&A with you guys as well on that live masterclass. So if anything comes up for you while I'm teaching you how to unravel your codependency and giving you tools, I want to offer you some time to also be with me and ask some questions as well, so I can help you at the best I can. Hello, Keith. Hello, Vivek. I'm so happy you guys are here joining me on the live. If you have any questions, please feel free to answer them and put them in the chat box so I can answer them for you. But part of codependency is also how we are really focusing or over focusing on wanting to feel loved. Okay. That's why I say a lot of times when we get into codependent relationships is because we have a huge thing of abandonment that we've followed that we've had in our life. Sorry, guys. So with that said, when you are also in these type of codependent behaviors, what happens is you feel like you're losing a part of yourself all the time. So that's why I say in the beginning of the slide, like I said, many times when we are in this relationship, we end up regressing and saying, I'm not good in relationships, so I'm not going to date anymore. So I'm not going to do this. But the real work is why are we showing up like this in relationship, right? And so this is what's really important. So I want you to sign up for this free live masterclass that I'm having on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, where I'm going to really help you unravel codependency and find out where this is coming from as well. And I want you guys to be able to do that. So virtual hug, awesome. Virtual hug to you too. And again, thank you, Christopher, so much. I really appreciate this as well. Andy has a question. I want to be able to take this question as well. Let's see. Is it possible a narcissist or toxic person can break you down until you are codependent where you're previously independent? 1000%. Yes. Okay. Here's where, okay. So Andy, I would ask you if we were in a coaching session, like what signs did you see in the beginning that you ignored? Narcissist, quote unquote, or toxic person, right? I don't like to use the word narcissist too much because you can throw it around until I know for sure their behaviors, but because typically when relationships because we were also seeking something from them. Okay. And so those that seek something from them also will make us be in that relationship more and more because of the fact that we needed something from them. So they gave us something. It could be something as small as and big as attention, right? So what was that, right? And then you honestly, when this happens and you become codependent, when you were previously independent, what happens is you start to not trust yourself possibly in the next relationships. And so what we have to do is kind of unravel. So I really want you to be on this live masterclass so we can unravel what was happening in your relationship that you saw yourself getting into this relationship as well. Let's see. Pennsylvania, awesome. Shout out to you. Let's see. My wife and I are separated and she said she's just not into it. I was the problem though. Yeah, typically when this happens is because we're lacking that clarity and emotional connection with our partner in our world, in our life, guys. And so one of the things that we tend to do, here's the thing is I can't say like exactly what's happening in your marriage until I know what was happening in your marriage, but what I can say is many times when a woman is just not into it, our wife is just not into it anymore, is because we gave up on attraction in our marriage. We gave up on connecting with our wife in an emotional way, and probably more of in not having a playful dynamic, getting too stuck in the routine, not doing new things, not talking about things in a marriage, maybe playing a little bit of the safe card in the marriage as well, as far as like just keeping things even keel and things become a routine. Marriages are we have to constantly work at what we've devoted our life to, right? And so when we give up, sometimes this is what can transition, okay? I like this question. What is opposite of a codependent relationship? A secure relationship, a healthy relationship, right? So when we have a secure relationship, we feel a sense of detachment. We feel a sense of pride. We feel heard. We feel a sense of security. We feel safe. We feel growth. We feel empowered as well. That's a big one. Bob just registered. Amazing. I'll see you in the live masterclass on Thursday. Guys, if you have not registered for the free live masterclass, How to Break Free of Codependency, I encourage you to do so now. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to take 2 more questions. And then we are going to sign off. So take this time right now. The description box is in the link. I'll also post it here in the chat box one more time for you. Let's see. I want to say thank you for all your advice to help me date this woman I'm interested in. And she said, I'm the first guy that has been straightforward, flirting, etc. Thank you. Boom, boom, bam. Awesome. That's exactly what I like to hear. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, I like this question. Hold on. So let's see. Oh, you're so welcome. Is this masterclass the same codependency to purchase in 13 lessons library? Yes, but here's the thing is I would really encourage you to still sign up. There's going to be good material if you still want to really work on this. I'm going to give you lessons on how to break free of the codependency as well. All right, guys. So with that said, I want you to be able to register for this free live masterclass. It's going to be amazing. Bring your pen and paper, be prepared. I can't wait to see you. The link is below in the description box, and can't wait to see you guys. I'm excited to have you, and much love to all of you. Thank you so much for trusting in me. DC, you register in the chat box. I'll put it one more time here in the chat box, but also it's in the description box, okay? So I will put that there for you in the chat box. Allow people to donate to you. You're so sweet. I just need your presence. That's all. All right, guys, much love to you. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. I hopefully will see you on Thursday on my live seminar, where I'm going to really dissect and teach you everything about codependency and how to release it. So I'm really, really excited for it. I love doing these live masterclass for you monthly. Much love to all of you. If this is your first time visiting, I welcome you to subscribe and also to comment below and let me know you registered. Bye, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.